Thankfully, I'm here to just watch it all unfold in front of us. The mechanics, the mentality, everything is going to be top tier in this series, and I can't wait to get underway.
And you know, Stacks talked about, I'm sure there's some statistical advantage that Oxygen have, and I think there is a slight statistical advantage in one category. As, hey, Rise, that's the wrong way.
Of course, the crowd favorites already. Gen.G coming out hot with a demo from Nolly. Abjack, easy follow-up, and Rise almost got a chip of it, but just couldn't get the angle, and that's the first one.
Yeah, you saw he was smoked, and as he came out of the smoke, the ball was already rocketing towards the net, so he just had to react. Tough to do from that spot. Got blinded. A nice opener for Gen.G. This Oxygen team, Jack and Jorius used to be on the same team. They've actually only matched up against each other twice in the RLCS, and Jorius owns that matchup 6-0 in games, 2-0 in the series. Jack hasn't won a single game against Jorius.
And the biggest series win, of course, is from that fall major head-to-head, where we did have Oxygen just stomping Gen.G in that Swiss stage 3-0. They outscored Gen.G in that series 13-1, and well, Gen.G already got their one goal, and they're looking to change that statistic this time around. Gonna have to play some solid defense and match up evenly against this mechanical squad, Oxygen.
Pop up for Chronic, but that's only Oxygen's ball. Archie, back to Rise, and denied. Jack just had to stand there and hope he could get a solid touch on it. Saved his dodge until it bounced off of his car, got safe.
Fantastic vision from Archie. He could have gotten the angle, at least tried to put a shot on net, but saw the pass, saw the outlet. Unfortunately, Rise just didn't have a good angle. And this is another one in front of the net. Jorius, quick follow-up, drop down, and everything's tied up.
Oxygen have a very quick midfield attack, and that touch, Archie was ready for it the whole way. You saw Chronic and apparently Jack tied up on the right side of the net and put it right back into Oxygen, not into safety. An easy goal for Oxygen.
And it's really good to see Jorius involved on the offensive side early in this series. He was a player who was definitely quiet in their previous series against Complexity. I mean, he only had about 5% shooting accuracy, 18 shots with 1 goal in that series, and immediately coming out on fire. That's what you want to see out of Jorius. He has to make an impact, and he's trying to do so.
Rise looking for an outlet. Gen.G slowly grabbing possession. Nice quick read there from Jack. Threatens the dribble, then goes for the hard touch as soon as he sees Oxygen commit. Both of these teams capable of those mind games. Jack just can't really find a way in.
What a goal!
A shot on net. Nolly dumps them out, takes the lead.
This man hopped into the time machine and read the future, knew where Jorius was smacking this ball, takes it off of his car, and he's got a shot on top of it.
Gen.G wastes no time. Now, Oxygen, their passing on offense looks great. They've held on to that midfield, but Gen.G, once they do get down to the blue, they're always a threat now. Jack just lost control, didn't quite have boost, but got the touch back over to Chronic. The pass gonna connect for apparently Jack. Oxygen had to wake up frozen. Gen.G continuing to find a way through in the save. Nice job popping in front by Archie. Another shot denied, just real close, and they squeeze it off the post.
Come on, so close from Gen.G, knocking at the door. That ball was hovering over the goal line, and immediately we're seeing what Gen.G are so good at doing, and it's utilizing each other, the vision on the field, everybody getting involved, a touch to every person. So methodical and prepared, but with a demo, it doesn't matter what it looks like. If you're deleting players off the pitch, it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, they've been swinging, looking for heads, and they're connecting on them pretty consistently. Nolly just couldn't quite get the timing as it came across, and it ripped straight out into the middle of the field. Perfect bounce for Archie.
I think you see what Nolly was going for, assuming it's gonna hit the post and go a little bit more directly towards the center. Just didn't have that read, but a good kickoff for Gen.G. Might open up an immediate response, but Jorius bailing out his teammates in that situation, gets the full boost, and now patiently flicks this ball out of his own half.
Getting harassed though. Chronic had forced him off the ball for a moment. Gen.G still getting to those challenges. Some space for Rise, got the stealing. He knew he had the bump on the backside. Rise just trying to control it, gets the goal.
You get the bump, And also the pass to yourself from the ceiling. Chronic is on the backboard looking for something, but Joreus bullies him out the way. And Rise says, thank you very much for all that open space.
You talked about Joreus' shooting percentage and his goal participation, which wasn't the highest, but that's one that doesn't show up on the goal participation sheet. It's creating a lot of value through those demos. All three players of Oxygen. Seems to be a focus of game one. The demos have been opportunistic, and they've taken their chances out.
And it's ridiculous. I came in here wanting to see more out of Joreus. This man, 1 goal, 2 assists to his name. He is certainly taking the offense in strides and leading the charge, but Rise wants to put another one in and extend this lead.
A high touch that actually forces Gen.G off the rotation. Quite ready for that pop-up. Chronic at low boost. Rise, good. Little soft touch. Just the threat of him behind the ball is enough to freeze Gen.G. Good job using each other to move that ball down the field. Oxygen looking deadly here. Another bumpy Goomba stock! Damn! Joreus collects!
Skydiving from the backboard. How do you even land this bump? It's so hard to control your car. He saved his flip even and knocked Nolly out the way. Extended the lead by 2, 46 on the clock. Gen.G, this has got to be a good kickoff for them.
Gen.G have just pulled so far off of Oxygen. As soon as Oxygen get control, and they're trying to set up in the thirds. That's a great pass to Jack, but quick defense. They're able to get in front of it. Oxygen keeping that 2-goal lead.
Back to the middle though. Have been a fan of this passing game from Gen.G. Opportunities have been there. Of course, 2 goals to their name, but the defense, so much physicality that they weren't prepared for, and now it's wide open again. Overextending on the defense, trying to get a counterattack, some type of transition, but it's not happening.
And the offensive potential in game 1 from Oxygen has been fully realized. Putting up 5 goals, finding so many seams. And they really came out, smacked Gen.G in the mouth, even after they went down 2-1. They didn't abandon the physical game. Rise, who has been a grounding force for this team before he had joined, all that offensive potential, you didn't see it that often from Oxygen. But he is the center of this team. He helps keep them grounded, and he helped get Oxygen a 5-2 victory. All 3 players, an excellent start.
Now at both majors, Gen.G 0-4 against Oxygen, and this is with the new roster now, 1-0. With a great record, a great first game. Joreus leading the way, but it's off the back end of the demos from Rise, and Archie was the glue that kept it all together, Jorby.
We talk about now still Jack winless against Joreus in games played. There's just something that they just can't get figured out against this tournament. I mean, Gen.G and Oxygen, they both struggled against Complexity in this tournament. But I mean, Gen.G still at Complexity had to work hard for that win against them, but they're really off center right now against Oxygen.
Well, it's not coming down to the boost. It's truly just coming down to this physical game where you're looking to see what else you can do with that rotation. You're extending it forward off the backboard. You remember Rise coming through, saving the flip, bumping Nolly out the way. Then Joreus is also on the backboard. The rotation doesn't stop at the corner boost. They keep going even further towards the edge of the map, and that's been such a great tool in their back pocket that they can use whenever.
I mean, you talk about the boost as well. That's something that Oxygen did really well when they did get pressed. They were stealing canisters, but also a small pad game where they were just taking small pads on their way out. And a lot of times, Chronic, he was starved for a lot of that game, and he kept getting pushed off. They have to keep avoiding orange car or blue cars as they come to demo them. Let's see how Gen.G adapt here in game 2.
They just look so uncomfortable, Jorby, and that's obviously a lot of credit due to Oxygen and how aggressive they've been. Let's see what response we get in game 2. Gen.G back's not against the wall quite yet, but of course they want to get back in the series as early as possible, and some revenge. Chronic on the demo.
Well, lazy walk for Nolly, thanks to the hard-earned work from Chronic here. Turns right back into Archie. Easy goal for Gen.G.
And that's got to feel good. The payback, much needed for Gen.G, who have just been taking a beating. Punches left and right, a couple of uppercuts, but finally that third man taken out from Oxygen.
Jack got the grab, but couldn't keep control. Rise.
Oh, man.
The threat, Chronic had to jump for it. Rise, he's been so consistent on land. He actually eclipsed everybody else in the RLCS. He holds the record for goals scored on land at 143 of them. He surpassed the likes of Gen.G.
He's been competing since the beginning of time. Nolly was up for this aerial so early himself. He went in for the 50-50. Abject coming through, another great challenge, and an even better bounce to set up the shot.
You saw Rise turn downfield as Jorius was trying to carry the ball out. Archie was still rotating back. Very aggressive position from Rise. And Archie, that was a tough position to have to jump back and make a save from.
But that challenge game, Jorby, that's two 50-50 wins in favor of Gen.G. Understanding the best way to approach this ball, how to get it past the defense of Oxygen. Archie forced in a tough spot. Then Jorius in no man's land. I'm not sure if he's looking for boost 14 to his name as you look in the upper left-hand corner, but a defensive blunder for Oxygen. Jorius mid-flip, Chronic takes advantage and says, okay, I see what you did.
Yeah, it was hard,
an over-rotation.
Hard to see what Jorius saw there as he flipped across.
Yeah.
Gen.G definitely had possession there. Maybe he flipped as Archie got that touch. Archie could have had a better kill to the corner. A couple of things just falling apart there for Oxygen.
And that's not the first time that we've seen a miscommunication from Oxygen in their series against KCP. I remember Archie just tried to give a pass out to Jorius in the corner, I believe it was, on defense, but it didn't connect, and he ended up giving it right to the opposition. The same situation just happened against Gen.G.
And that's really how people have gotten by Oxygen, is they do catch them out sometimes. Love being aggressive. They know that they can be this highly mechanical, highly offensive team. And we see what happens. They get the demo, pushes it off the ramp, and Rise gets the first goal.
All three of the players from Oxygen are patiently waiting, trusting Archie to get this ball past Nolly. The demo's there, Rise is there, and also Jorius for some security.
Definitely savable there from Nolly, but it was a great job from Archie delaying it. He saw as soon as Nolly jumped, he knew they could just let that ball sail right by him. It was a softer touch. It's all about timing there from Nolly. Now, trying for the bump. Jack gets kicked up to the ceiling. Jorius trying to get aggressive. Chronic is clear.
You gotta keep your head on a swivel here, Jorby, if you're Gen.G. Every player on the blue side is hunting you down. As long as they're just within range, they will turn, they will cut rotation to take you out.
Oh, Archie gets by. Chronic forced to race back. Archie can be forced to it, but not able to make contact. And Oxygen dead on that push. What a first volley, almost got over the last defender. But Rise gets there. Chronic now weaving his way around. Jack gotta wait for this touch from Rise, and Rise slips by him, but Nolly puts it right back in.
You're seeing Gen.G step up to the plate in the physical game, staying behind the ball, and sometimes even leaving it to go for the bump. Nolly, quick pass in the midfield. Rise, wonderful control out to Jorius.
The backboard's looking pretty clean though for Gen.G.
Absolutely.
They've tried bumping Jack a couple of times when he's been there. Haven't quite connected. Certainly a lot of risks for Oxygen. Going for those bumps. Able to get the clear, just can't hold on to the ball right now.
Let's see what Nolly has to do off the backboard. Honestly, just damage control at this point. You're in the lead by 2. Abject to himself off the backboard. Hunted for something.
Uh-oh.
Getting the crowd excited, and of course this one's gonna get the crowd excited.
You see him on the wall, you see him have space, you've seen him done it! He's done this all season! A perfect soft little touch, he gets underneath it, and I mean, Chronic's just ridiculous, man. He's so good.
Oxygen's worst nightmare right there. Chronic, don't give him some space, don't give him the opportunity from the ceiling. It's a fancy one. In under 2 minutes to go.
Again. Oh my God, Chronic! That's not fair, bro! You gotta give some people a chance out here!
Chronic, 2 in a row. All by himself, the dunk on top of it. Everything connecting, 5-1 for Gen.G.
Slapping Oxygen right back. Putting a 5 spot on him. The time for Oxygen to kind of stabilize. This one feels like it's about to get out of reach. Nolly gets another clear. Chronic's had those 2 big goals at the end, but Nolly really helped get things started on offense with his 2 earlier on.
And it's also what they're doing off the ball. I mean, I've seen Chronic take so much boost. A little bit baffled by what was happening there on the offensive side, but I see Chronic several times. He'll get a 50-50 win, and on top of the fancy solo plays, he's taken a lot of boost, leaving the ball and trying to throw Oxygen Esports off, and that just extra bit of frustration that you can inflict is so impactful for Chronic.
Absolutely. Nolly conducted a pretty good push there, and that's just wasting so much time. Now, Jack expecting a touch from first man. It didn't come. Archie, he throws an arc and gets the goal.
You might as well build some momentum as you head into game number 3. This one should be all wrapped up from Gen.G as long as we don't see an interesting game. We remember, you know, G1, that game 4. Things can happen here.
Well, that's true. I don't know if Gen.G will end up giving that up. If crazier things have happened, maybe.
I hope it happens
pass and play in front.
just to prove you wrong.
Oh, it's back out to him. Rise off the backboard, coming across, aggressive push here. Jorius tried to keep it low, and it does allow Oxygen to come back. They get the 50. It was a great decision from Jorius not to dodge into that ball and control, but it doesn't matter. Gen.G line up and they locked him down.
And that was a critical touch too, getting in front of the pass. There was, I believe, a player and an open net now for Jorius. I'm telling you, I'm getting flashbacks.
Yeah, you feeling it?
I'm feeling that G1 game 4. That proved that anything can happen here in this LAN environment. And my goodness, there's plenty of time, Jorby.
We'll see what they do on the kickoff. Chronic, no boost. He had to pre-jump and hope that they hit that ball into him.
Even the game 5 against Complexity, Oxygen were on a tear towards the end of it.
Yeah.
They strung together a couple of passes.
Whoa.
And a couple of goals. Could be the same story here. 2 to go. And Abjack, good interception, but Archie had him red.
Ball kicked out. Rise actually pull off. Jack still in the area. They need to get a goal with time left if they want to pull off that magic. But Gen.G keeping it clean for now. That might have done enough to waste time. There it is, clock hits 0. Gen.G will tie things up.
We don't get the drama, the crazy ending to this game where Oxygen could have got back into it, but still some momentum that they can build on moving forward. Gen.G had them absolutely, I'd say, under control in the first half. Certainly they were winning challenges back and forth and moving forward. Every single shot on target. Clean stuff from Gen.G.
Yeah, Chronic and Nolly real close on the scoreboard. It was Nolly in that first half, really talking about breaking through, great disruption
winning challenges
in that first man position. And then Chronic somehow just gets space, and he does Chronic things, man.
I mean, come on. We're looking at this Mobile 1 high performance replay, and we're seeing Chronic by himself.
We say like solo play, that's not the way to go. Don't do solo plays, use your team. And Gen.G are even like, it's a thinking man's game. And Chronic's like, no, dude, I'm sick on the mess.
It's a thinking man's game, but if you've got Chronic, you don't really have to think too much, okay?
Well, you actually have to think harder.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
It's a lot of processing.
I mean, he's getting a hat trick.
Ridiculous.
That's all that matters right now. You've got one player who can make an impact, but the main thing you want to take away from that is everybody truly did get involved, and it was a unit that moved forward against Oxygen. Gen.G were able to respond in game 2. Let's see how game 3 goes.
Exact same scoreline, but flipped right off the kick. Wow. Oxygen off the bar, still away. Jack can't get the save. Jorius gets it.
Kickoff heavily in favor for Oxygen, and it's been this way since the second half of the previous game, and it continues along that trend. Ball rolling across the goal line, easy finish from Jorius, but an even better earlier shot from Rise to get the assist.
Wasn't a bad adjustment from Jack. Again, having to time that side flip just to get square on the ball, but tough to do from that area in the net. Can't lose that kickoff. Here
double
comes
tap.
Archie.
He's got the boost.
Double tap. Oh,
come
Jorius
on.
Double tap dynamite.
The mechanical monster coming alive yet again off the backboard, all the time in the air, setting up the angle, dropping it down, and putting 2-0 on the board.
And the placement as well. The middle of the net. Jorius hit that any lower, it's likely a save. He still had to hit the top. And Oxygen rocket out to a 2-goal lead early.
These kickoffs have been huge for Oxygen. And another one, this is the third kickoff going in favor of the blue side. They're immediately thrown to Gen.G's defense, who are struggling to get boost, can't break out. Finally they do so. Abjack, flip reset, and a blunder on the defense of Oxygen, but bailed out quickly.
Now Jack had no boost, he couldn't go for it. Chronic was just off the line of the ball, he couldn't go. Oxygen definitely fortunate. Gen.G couldn't find a hole, but here comes Chronic. Jack's jumped. Tori is there to beat him before. Ball kicked downfield. Nobody from Gen.G will get there. 3 goals now. Every game, one team is just rocking it out to a multi-goal lead, and they just can't seem to be stopped. Another demo just opens the net wide open. Nothing they can do about it.
It's always been so one-sided, and that's the frustrating part of getting demoed, of getting bullied on your side. you're forced to use some of your brain power to try and read when these players that you're up against are gonna go for demos, and that distracts you, Jorby. You can't focus on the play style you want, on controlling this ball. You're too paranoid of when you're gonna get taken out.
Whoa, Rise in the air. Pass back to Archie.
Oh!
Pinpoint precision from Archie.
Pinpoint indeed, threading the needle. And Rise was already in the air to pass that back to Archie. The pre-jump assist.
My God.
And that was a beauty.
Gen.G even tried a fake kickoff, and it didn't even work. Jack got the ball down the field, and then Jory is trapped, and he's like, cool, we're gonna score again. But here comes Rise.
And here they are on the kickoff. Another one in favor of Oxygen. These guys. Game 3 has Oxygen written all over it.
Hard ball for Jack to get to. Nolly on the catch. Nice quick flip over the first defender. Made it awkward against Jorius, but he set up, and he missed his ball. The layers coming clean. Archie got the save, bounced it back into Jorius. Now Rise, he can buy a little bit of time. Archie, man, Jorius can come in. Ball kicked over their heads. Gen.G, though, just trying to get started in Game 3.
I mean, they can only hope for some late game resurgence now. Any signs of life at this point would be something for Gen.G. Maybe a solo play more. I mean, you threw Chronic forward before and it was working out, but you can't expect that every single time. And here he is, the player we're talking about, full boost. What's he got? Up in the air, by himself, over to Abjack, but it's too far, and they immediately lose possession.
A couple of times that's happened. Jack, I think he's feeling a little rushed. He jumped early, had some passes earlier, couldn't connect on it, or Jorius cuts him off. They're just not connecting like we're used to seeing Gen.G connect.
Which is a bizarre sentence. I mean, Gen.G, they have always been on the same page, so to see them a bit flustered, certainly surprising, but you're up against Oxygen nonetheless. Definitely expect it to be high pressure. Another shot from Abjack. They're looking for anything, Jorby.
See if Nolly anything up, but Oxygen clean up on defense. Jory is in net for the return. Oxygen trying to play advance. Archie's got to come back, and it's off the board, but Jack, you saw him playing the touch, respecting Oxygen on defense. He couldn't get the rebound. Now Rise over Chronic.
Backboard.
Has to let it drop. Still a loose ball. Jack gets in front.
I love that patience from Archie. He knows they're up by 4 goals. There's no point in overextending. At this point, I think the goal is to leave and keep Gen.G scoreless. Don't even let them build momentum, because we're seeing how effective that can be. If you remember, towards the previous game, Oxygen started to build some strings on the offensive side, and that has bled into Game 3.
That was a good recovery from Jack. He got, hang on a second.
Got it.
Hang on! Oh, Chronic had the red. But it's not over. Here's another one off the bar, and he almost got the rebound. Rise next up. Does he have it? Archie sits in the box, but it's taken away, and Nolly's not gonna let another rebound go into Oxygen's guard.
Starting to look like a training pack for Oxygen on the offensive side. They're just getting dished out so many fantastic looking passes up in front of the net.
Even right there, that pinch goes straight back out to midfield. All the Gen.G have to chase it down. Jack leaves that challenge, set it up. Now it's up to Archie to get the clear. Rise. Safely gives it back to Jorius. They will not give Gen.G the ball. Shutting them down. Gen.G responded so well in Game 2. Chronic will pick one up here late.
This is important. Again, I talked about it, Jorby. Just showing any signs of life towards the end of a game can bleed into the next. That's what happened with Oxygen here, and Gen.G are trying to follow along that same narrative and hopefully push into Game 4, because this one keyword should be over for Oxygen.
Well, Oxygen tried to make it interesting last game. We'll see if Gen.G, they only got to score a lot of goals here. Chronic lifts that up, but Archie, he had that angle covered. Comes across. And they're wasting tons of time with every challenge they get. Right here, they're just center of the box, but there's no real disruption. They can get the ball back out to midfield, but all of Oxygen are ready for the touch, and they get another clear.
Even after a double commit we just witnessed from Oxygen,
but they put it out into space.
And Jorius was so quick to recover from that situation, get in front of Gen.G. I'm rarely seeing a moment where Gen.G have more space to work with in the midfield. Somebody on the blue side is throwing themselves forward. Final seconds drop. Oxygen take this game and now lead the series.
Trying to get second in their group. And not that second or third really matters, because you got to play someone out of Group B, and that's Falcons, Vitality, or Cake.
Right.
Pick your poison. It's going to be tough, but none of these games have been close. All 3 of them multi-goal wins by 3. Actually, every single game has been a 3-goal win for either team, but Oxygen outscoring Gen.G at the moment.
Which just comes down to, I think, the defensive structure, what's been working. This one wasn't as demo heavy and more pass reliant for Oxygen. You know, they started out getting some momentum with more demos, with physical plays. This was all about finding each other, using better vision on the field to always find a touch to a player. And that really picked apart Gen.G, who were probably focusing more on the demos than they were the positioning of Oxygen themselves for the passes. They just didn't want to get taken out.
Really love how Rise looked in that game as well. Obviously, he had the pre-jump pass
beautiful.
And, to get Oxygen their 4th goal, but he's also just been difficult to get by whenever he's tasked. His positioning off the ball, always so clean. He has a really good idea of how Gen.G want to play this game. And so far, Oxygen, they've gotten advantage twice on Gen.G now. Let's see how they respond. They have not had the possession. They have not had the control in the last 5 minutes. Here come Oxygen again! Off the post, just barely saved by Chronic.
How do the reigning major champs deal with this pressure? Match point on the line. Backs now against the wall. All eyes on this orange side. This kickoff has been a lot better. Good recovery from Gen.G. It just wasn't immediately given away to Oxygen, but as I say that, Rise quick to turn this ball over and shove it into the corner, set up a pass for Archie. 3 players in net. That's gonna get saved 100%.
Oh, Chronic got bumped. This opens up a gap, but a good recovery by Nolly. That could have been disastrous. Oxygen has opened up scoring every time, just like that. Kicking Chronic out of the way, but Nolly comes in to cover. Gen.G need those layers. They want to be successful. Good clear, not good enough.
I like that first touch from Jack. Keeping it close, then a better 50-50. Reminiscent of what started Gen.G in this series and got them a game. Good challenges, but now they're flooding this ball out into the midfield, but nobody's there, and Rise recognizes some space and keeps possession, finds Archie, but a better challenge from Chronic. Things building for Gen.G.
They just don't have an angle in. Jack, all he can do is move the ball to the sidewall. As long as Oxygen are forcing Gen.G to the sides, that's just fine defense. Jack went for the pinch. Rise gets there in time.
And more control. That's the second time in a row. Rise
scooped it over.
Blowing this ball down over to Archie. Back to Rise. Faking out Nolly to himself. Sets up Archie, but he's demoed out the play. And everything comes crashing down.
Such a great idea from Rise. Make his car big. Force the ball out into the center. He puts his car far side of the ball to make it happen. And then wow. I need to look at that one again. The ball just skirted out to the side. Oh, maybe Jack would have had something.
Abjack was floating in the air, then the shot hit him while he's falling down. A bit of misdirection. It almost worked out for him, but still held scoreless. Both teams, as we approach halftime, Gen.G might take out Rise, but he dodges the demo and gets the clear.
Tighter game this time around. Each game so far, it had about 4 goals scored by the halfway point. Another quick clear. Can't get back to it. Forced into that tough spot. Chronic bounces off the ramp as he got the clear. Now Jack is forced into defense. But Jorius doesn't leave the play. Leaves it for Archie. Archie, full boost, but saved. Still a loose ball. Rise up high. What? Nobody can go. Jorius the whole way back. Has to defend the clear. And he does get the next 50. Oxygen holding firm, not giving Gen.G free transitions. Able to push back. The pressure has belonged to Oxygen more than Gen.G so far.
And I'm still so impressed with Jorius. He's throwing himself forward like this moment right here. And after the first touch, can continue to follow it. Jorius, there's so many layers to his rotation, whether he's the first man or the second man, always getting involved. Abjack takes the boost, forced to deal with more pressure. Oxygen, they are hunting, waiting for this first goal opportunity.
Up ball for Oxygen. Chronic had to wait for it. That's a stretcher for Jack. He just doesn't have enough boost to continue that. That was a hard pass to receive. You need a solid first touch to make it work. Now Nolly just misses the ball. Oxygen gets a free touch, but Archie just too high. An easy challenge for Chronic.
Easy challenge indeed. He pre-jumped it. Rise just wants to stay behind this 50-50, evening out as we are closer and closer to the final 60. We've seen both teams have good stretches downfield, but nothing yet with an execution. And Nolly Here's the first execution we've been waiting on.
And Ollie finds the seam, lined this one up really well. Rise went for the soft touch, but the ball gets away from him. It bounces on the top of the ramp and bounces straight back out. There was nothing he could do to recover. He had to use the corner to recover there. Easy takeaway from Nolly. The shot, not as easy.
Well, it's all about the awareness to even go for a shot. Usually in the corner, those shots on target, not as fruitful. You've always got a player waiting on the goal line. There wasn't one from Oxygen. And now he takes advantage of it, but Chronic is bumped out the way. Gooba stopped again by Oxygen.
Apparently Jack got there in time. Now Chronic whips it quick to Jack. Good square up, but good square up by Rise, rather. Chorias gets the clear again. Oxygen, despite having that pressure, they're the ones that need to respond. Jack got it over, taken away. From Oxygen again, Archie, full boost, back to Chorias. 50 back over to the corner. Oxygen trying to keep possession. Rise over one, taken away by apparently Jack. Another pass over to Archie, denied. Nolly would not let that one go through.
Nolly prepared for it. This is the closest game we've got all series long. It's a one-goal game, 10 seconds left. Nolly wants to extend the lead. 5 on the clock. Archie looking for a clear down the other side. They need something. Otherwise, we're heading to game 5. That one is gonna do it, sending us to championship field.
And a much closer game 4. Both these teams have better data now. This far in, the demos aren't working out as well. The 50, it's become a lot tighter. No one wanted to take as many risks. We saw Oxygen take a lot of risks with bumps and demos with their 2 wins, but they didn't really have that many opportunities. They had to constantly win those 50s. Gen.G were in better positions. They weren't losing the boost game as hard against Oxygen, despite the pressure they were putting on. They wouldn't give them the center of the net.
And there were still good looks for Oxygen. Like I mentioned, this is the closest game we've seen throughout the entire series, and that one would have been ridiculous, but indeed we have Gen.G bouncing back. And this is providing all the content, all the shots, the mechanics, the defense, everything we could have asked for from this series. You see Oxygen up against Gen.G, and you know it's going to be a good one, Jormy.
Jack at 98 points. That's crazy.
And they still took the dub.
They still took the dub. If you don't gotta do anything,
listen.
I don't feel like Jack did nothing, but he was certainly getting harassed a couple of times. Chronic as well.
And a lot of times that'll happen, Jorby. You'll be that one player that gets targeted. Abjack was able to dodge demos and just fit in where he needed to. Didn't overextend.
Oh, game 5. Champion.
Here we go.
Field. Gen.G. Jack looking for his first match win against Jorius. Can he bring it here? We get underway. Oxygen had been a force on the kickoff and a great follow-up early there from Jorius. Archie just sends it in the middle, and that's not going to get it done.
And that wound from the fall major has got to be fresh still for Gen.G. They remember what Oxygen were able to do against them in the previous split, and they are back for revenge. Winning the major wasn't enough. They've got to put Oxygen in their place, but let's see if that demo-heavy playstyle comes out in game 5. Sparks flying, Archie up in the air, drop down pass, wide open, and Rise the finisher.
Oh, that's kind of dirty from Archie. Hits the negative angle here, gets behind the ball, drops it down perfectly to Rise, catching all of Gen.G out on that clear.
That's just unfair. You're slowing the ball down completely. At that point, you don't even want to hit the angle. You know you've got a second-man striker coming through. You've just got to slow the ball down. Another kickoff in favor of Oxygen. Every single time I feel like Oxygen are bouncing back, it's from these kickoffs.
Look at Archie, squares up on the ball, wants the kill every time. Chronic goes off of it, it pops right back into Jorius, and Archie just delivers the perfect read on the kickoff. And there's nothing Gen.G can do about it. They're just straight up losing in that department.
And it's a high risk, high reward. Oxygen love to do that close cheat on the kickoff. And we've seen a couple of moments in this tournament at this major where they push too far forward, especially with Rise on that kickoff. But sometimes, and what we're seeing right now, it can pay off.
Maybe the answer for Gen.G, if you want to get back in this game, there's a couple more kickoffs coming. Maybe you don't cheat up. Maybe you play a little safer because you just haven't had any success on the kickoff.
You could try and match it with a closer cheat, but at this point you might not be used to it. That was a risky play as Abjack left it. The ball is sent flying high to the left side.
Would have been riskier to hit that ball out into Oxygen. Maybe give them a third goal. We've seen this story play itself out twice before. This soft touch back to Jack from Nolly. Chronic has to stretch for it, but he wins it. The ball's a little far away from him for that.
You know, I've saw some solo plays earlier on in the series. I was kind of hopeful.
He was a little closer to the ball. Nice little outlet pass. Ooh, hard one.
Ooh, I didn't even see Nolly there.
A three-point passer, but Jack couldn't quite get the dunk.
The Gen.G are willing to send everybody forward if that's what it takes. And Archie doesn't care. He knows he can go between all three of the players, but again, more close passing. Chronic pass out to the left side. The read off the post, and Chronic is there.
And they caught Oxygen out here. Chronic coming across. Jorius trying to cut him off, and Chronic leaves it, forces Jorius to give up the touch to Jack, who just sends it right down the middle. He saw the seam. Chronic makes sure that ball goes in with how close it was to the post.
And that's great positioning from Jack. Just waiting on the pass out from Jorius, like you said. He could have pushed forward more, but understood that a clear would come out, and he'd be presented with a fantastic opportunity. They have now gotten themselves within one, a win within their grasp, but Oxygen have already got the win so long as they can hold on.
Rise, touch gets away from him. Looking for Jack. Jorius waits. He does not win that 50 though. Jack, a demo through one. Jack across the box, taken away by Rise.
Corner double tap, Nolly flashing in real quick.
Jorius.
Get a good touch, Jorius. What do you got for us? A flip reset, maybe a double tap Chronic. He's patiently waiting for it.
Oh. Jack trying to delete Archie. Missed him just a tad. To commit from Gen.G. Jack in the air. Now the net's open and Jorius nails it.
Nails it indeed. I don't think you get any more accurate than this. Top corner and in. One of the best shots we're gonna see. It's pretty, it's accurate, and it's clinical. 3-1.
It's starting to get a little too sweaty for Gen.G. And they stabilize. Oxygen just owned them on offense. Jack, here he comes, tries again. And he fails.
Look at the follow-ups. I mean, we're seeing mistakes from Archie. He didn't even get the touch, but he has enough time to recover and get back into play. Now there's all this space. Abjack is alone. He pre-jumps it. Archie way above him, but still somehow Abjack can find a way.
Good dive in front from Jorius. Rise was going to be left all by himself. Old defender wants to be left to defend two players. Oxygen keep getting in front of these challenges. Dump off to Rise. Rise with the ground pop, air dribble. Archie trying to bump, and Jack gets in the way. It's just not winning these touches, Turtle. Like, Jack gets the clear out, but he doesn't actually get the follow-up touch. Oxygen just get in the way of every single try. And back in the net. Oh, quick save, but that's the worst post bounce that could happen for Gen.G. It kicks right back out to Jorius. Chronic has to defend that touch. He's got no boost left. Nolly's last rotation. Jack's sitting back in the corner, like constantly having to catch his ball out. Now Jack has no boost here. And he's hoping he can get the Chronic, but look, he cuts him off again, and it's a free goal! Oxygen, they're reading Gen.G like it's a Dr. Seuss book.
Jorius, all he has to do is hit this ball off the sidewall, let it float in. It's as easy as that. Get the read off the clear, wait for it patiently, and you've been presented with a free opportunity. Barely a boost. How does this kickoff go? Of course, it looked like it was in favor of Oxygen, but thankfully Chronic can read it. And now get a big 50-50. This could be the start of something, but at what point is it just too late? 60 seconds and counting for Gen.G. Something has to work for them, and they get lucky with the post bounce. Could this be the start of it, Jorby?
Oxygen have smothered Gen.G on offense. Can they get anything? The ball just kicked away. Maybe they get a lucky bounce. No. Jorius, back and forth. There's Rise again. How many times has he done that this series?
Too many.
How many times? He has the post, doesn't matter. A post hit's just more time wasted on the clock. Just more time for Oxygen to play with their food. They get demoed. And Oxygen's so clean in game 5.
So clean, and it's too little too late for Gen.G. No time left. The gap is too big for Oxygen Esports. Even if they get one for the road, it's not enough. What a performance from the European squad that is Oxygen Esports. The speed has been there. The demo started us off. Jorius got involved early on. Rise as clutch as ever. And of course, Archie, the glue that keeps it all formed. Oxygen Esports taking the series win 3-2.
You wanted to see Jorius show up. You wanted to see his goal participation.
He was there.
Ratchet up.
He was there.
How about a Hattie? How about a Hattie for you?
That is ridiculous.
How about those demos? He was all over the place.
All over the place.
And now he's 3-0 against Jack. That's got to feel pretty good.
I just can't get over that the speed difference in this series was so big between these two teams. Oceania Esports had enough time to miss a challenge or lose the challenge, recover, and somehow get back into the play, even if they weren't there initially. It's ridiculous. I think Gen.G, I'm not sure if it was too much respect given up, or they just didn't have the speed in this series alone. They're gonna have to go back to the drawing boards and figure something out, as they are now the 3rd seed coming out of this group.
3rd seed, 1 and 2. I don't think anybody had Gen.G dropping 2 series in their group.
I don't think anybody had complexity. Maybe. I mean, complexity are pretty good at groups, but my goodness, you see Gen.G and Oxygen here, you know it's going to be closer, but.
I mean, Oxygen scored almost 4 goals a game. They scored 5 twice. I mean, what more can you say about it, man? They look so good. And now you're wondering for Gen.G, you got to go into round 1. Not at your best. It's not your best look. I think more credit to Oxygen. Had absolutely
100%. I mean, this didn't look like it was Gen.G completely fumbling the bag here in this situation. Still good opportunities, but Oxygen Esports were just that much better with every touch, with every adaptation, play style changes, everything connected.
Well, that was some hard-nosed smack-mouth Rocket League from Oxygen. And I am excited to hear from the boys. Let's send it over to Subi for the winner's interview.
Appreciate that, Jorby. I'm here with the winners, Oxygen, and more specifically up here with Rise. And right out of the gates, Rise, we know that you were almost put on the IR, injured reserve. You got problems with the hands all the time. What happened this time? I mean, look at that.
Well, I cut my fingers here at boot camp, and I broke my wrist, obviously, about a month and a half ago now. But we're recovering well. We got the dub.
I mean, recovering well for sure, because, yeah, you got the win, and the fact that you can still play mechanical with a hand like that, I would hate to see you at full power. But, you know, I gotta immediately go to the kickoffs. It just felt like that was a huge weak point for Gen.G in that series. Was that something you guys realized before the series started, or was it something that kind of crept up as the series went along?
It was actually something Archie said in game 5, I think, that we could just score kickoff goals because they were trying to do the same thing every time. So we just kind of like figured it out, and then, yeah, worked well for us.
No, it's good to point those things out as you see them. Now, this team, Oxygen, played Gen.G in the fall major and won 3-0 and only allowed 1 goal from Gen.G. This time it was a lot closer. What do you feel like the difference was? Obviously you weren't there in fall, but this time you're on this stage, but they seem to fight a little harder this time.
I think it's a thing of confidence. This series was honestly just a placement series. But it was very sloppy. It wasn't enjoyable to play really until the last 30 seconds when we'd won. It seemed very back and forth, and every game was like 5-0 at some point. It was really weird.
Do you feel like that was just mistakes on both sides of the field, or do you feel like there was some slower gameplay that led to mistakes on your side? What was it from your end?
It felt like we just canceled each other out, and it was like whoever got the first goal, the other team then had to come out, and then it's just more and more goals. But yeah, it was really weird to play.
You know, before these majors always start, there's always people out there that do power rankings, people like casters saying who they think is going to win the major. One name that I didn't seem to hear was Oxygen Esports. So this is the last question. What is the message to all the haters out there?
Look, man, we trolled our group, let's be real. We could have won the group, we bottled it. But, you know, first few series online, we've beat the supposed best team in the world. So, we'll see. We will see, and we're going to